Good morning, my dear students. Today we are going to complete the excretion in living organism. In the last lesson, we talked about the excretory wastes in the organs responsible for excreting them. We talk about the liver, we talk about the skin, and now we are going to talk about the kidneys and the structure of the urinary system, as they are responsible for getting rid of the urine, excess water, excess salts, and most of the urea. Before talking about the urinary system and the structure of the kidney, you have to know about the urea. You have to know what is the urea, or where the urea comes from. We said before that inside the liver, the excess amino acids are broken down inside the liver cells to produce nitrogenous wastes. The types of nitrogenous wastes are urea, ammonia, and uric acid. Also inside the liver cells, the ammonia will change into urea because urea is less toxic. And by the help of the kidneys with the liver, both of them are responsible for removing the urea from our body. As the liver change the excess amino acids into urea, and then the kidneys are responsible for getting out of the urea from our body with the urine. In front of you, this is the structure of our urinary system. It is the system that's responsible for getting out of the urine from our body. It consists of two kidneys at the back of our body on both sides of the vertebral column, in the upper part of the abdominal cavity, and two ureters, as each kidney connects with one ureter. Then the two ureters transfer the urine from the kidneys to the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is a sac-like structure where if it's completely filled with urine, so the muscle on the wall of the urinary bladder will contract to push the urine to the urethra, and from the urethra outside the body. The kidneys, they are found in the higher vertebrates behind the peritoneum membrane. What is the peritoneum membrane? It is the membrane that bounds all the organs in the abdominal cavity together, while the kidneys are found behind the peritoneum membrane on the two sides of the vertebral column in the upper part of the abdominal cavity. About the structure of the urinary system, it consists of two kidneys at the back of our body, two ureters, urinary bladder, and urethra. About the properties of the human kidneys. The location, we said that it's found, or they are found in the upper part of the abdominal cavity at the back of our body on both sides of vertebral column behind the peritoneum membrane. The length of the kidney about 12 centimeter, its width about 7 centimeter, and thickness about 3 centimeters. About the shape of the kidney, they are bean-shaped. The outer part of each kidney is convex, while the inner part is concave. When we talk about the blood supply of the kidney, you have to know that on the inner side of each kidney, a branch of aorta artery, which is the biggest artery in the body, enters each kidney, called renal artery, while the renal vein comes out from each kidney and pours in the inferior vena cava. About the function of the kidneys, they are responsible for getting rid of the urine, or we can say they are responsible for getting rid of the urea because its accumulation in the blood is very harmful. they lead to, or it leads to blood poisoning and may lead to death. And also the kidneys responsible for getting rid of the excess salts and excess water to keep the homeostasis of the body. About the two ureters, they are thin tubes that come out from the inner surface of the kidney. The functions of the ureter is to transfer the urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. The urine moves inside the two ureters by peristalsis. The peristalsis are series of contraction and relaxation in the wall of the ureter to let the urine to move downward till reach the urinary bladder. The urinary bladder is a muscular sac that receives the urine from the two ureters and store it. And when it's filled with urine, the wall of the bladder contracts and the sphincter muscle at the base open and expel the urine to the urethra, then to outside. And take care that the muscle in the wall of the urinary bladder is a type of muscle called the smooth muscle, which is involuntary muscle. It means it contracts and relaxes without the control of the body. Once the urinary bladder is completely filled with urine, the wall of the bladder contracts and let the urine to get out from the body. At the same time, the sphincter muscle at the base of the urinary bladder open to let the urine to get out from our body. This is the shape of the urinary system. Two kidneys lead to two ureters, then lead to the urinary bladder, then the urethra, then outside. About the blood supply, look at the aorta artery. The aorta artery is the biggest artery in the body. It gives branch to each kidney. The branch is called renal artery. While the renal vein back from each kidney and pour in the inferior vena cava. This is the internal structure of the kidney. If you look at the structure of the kidney, you will find that the kidney consists of two main regions. The outer region is called the cortex, which is narrow, and the broad region is called the medulla. And at the concave part of the kidney, this is renal pelvis, or the pelvis of the kidney, that leads to the ureter, then to the urinary bladder, to the urethra. About the internal structure of the kidney. Each kidney is differentiated into two regions. The outer is narrow, which is called the cortex, and the inner is broad, which is called medulla. Each kidney consists of functional units called nephrons. And the number of nephrons in each kidney is about 1 million. So if I ask you about the function of the nephron is the functional unit of the kidney. So the function of the nephron is the same function of the kidney. Getting rid of the urine or getting rid of the urea because its accumulation is dangerous and leads to blood poisoning and may lead to death. And also getting rid of the excess water and salts to keep the homeostasis of the body. So the function of the nephron equals the function of the kidney, as the nephron is the functional unit of the kidney. Let's talk about the structure of each nephron inside the kidney. Each nephron consists of Bowman's capsule. It's a cup-shaped, thin and double-walled found in the cortex. And inside each capsule network of blood capillaries called glomerulus. Then the Bowman's capsule leads to first coiled tubule, which is called another name called proximal convoluted tubule. So the first coiled tubule equals proximal convoluted tubules. They are found in the cortex of the kidney. Then the first coiled tubule leads to lobe of Henle, U-shaped tube in the medulla of the kidney. Then to the second coiled tubule in the cortex of the kidney. And also the second coiled tubule is called another name, which is distal convoluted tubule. So we have proximal convoluted tubule, then lobe of Henle, then distal convoluted tubule. Then to the collecting duct in the medulla of the kidney. It collects the urine and it transfers it to the pelvis of the kidney, and from the pelvis to the ureter, then to the urinary bladder. Take care that each two nephrons share together in one collecting duct. There is no collecting duct for each nephron. The two nephrons share together in one collecting duct, and the collecting duct collect the urine and transfer the urine to the pelvis of the kidney. What is the pelvis of the kidney? The concave cavity that receives the urine from the collecting ducts and gives the urine to the ureters. This is the shape of the kidney. We have cortex, we have medulla, and the lines that we can see inside the kidneys, they are the nephrons or the nephric tubules. And in red, there is a renal artery from the aorta artery that enters each kidney. And in blue color, the renal vein that come out from each kidney and pours in the inferior vena cava. The shape at the right is the structure of the nephron. We have here in red glomerulus, network of blood capillaries inside each Bowman's capsule. We have then first coiled tube or proximal convoluted tubule, then lobe of Henle, then second coiled tubule, all distal convoluted tubule, then to the collecting duct. And this is about the structure of the nephron, the functional units of the kidney. This is another structure for the nephron. Look at the glomerulus inside the Bowman's capsule, and the Bowman's capsule leads to the proximal convoluted tubule, then to the lobe of Henle, then to the distal convoluted tubule, or the second coiled tubule, then to the collecting duct. The branches around, or the blood vessels around the nephric tubules are veins and arteries, or venules and arterioles. The arterioles enter to the tubules, and the venules get out from the tubules, then pour in the renal vein, then to the inferior vena cava. While the aorta artery gives the blood to the renal artery, then the renal artery gives branches to the nephron. The urine excretion or extraction of urine from the body. It includes two steps. Step number 1, filtration. Step number 2, selective reabsorption. So what happens inside the nephron? Two processes happen inside the kidney. Number 1, filtration, and number 2, selective reabsorption. Let's talk about the filtration process. We said that a branch of aorta artery called renal artery enters each kidney through its concave surface, as we said before. Number 2, renal artery divides into many arterioles and blood capillaries at the cup-shaped Bowman's capsule, which are called glomerulus, network of blood capillaries, from the renal artery. Then, the blood plasma that contains water, urea, glucose, amino acids, and mineral salts pass from the blood capillaries in the glomerulus to Bowman's capsule, then to the kidney tubules. That's what we say, or what we said, this is the filtration process. So the filtration process happens inside the glomerulus, where the blood plasma that contains water, urea, glucose, amino acids, and mineral salts pass from the blood capillaries in the glomerulus to Bowman's capsule, while the blood cells and the blood proteins cannot pass to the capsule because they are large in size. Then the second step is the selective reabsorption. The renal vein forms many capillaries around the tubules. The renal vein reabsorbs valuable materials needed by the body, such as glucose, amino acids, some water, some salts, back to the body through the renal veins. The remaining fluid that contains excess water, vitamins, excess salts, urea, and other wastes pass from the tubules of the kidney or of the nephron to the collecting duct, then to the pelvis of the kidney, then to the ureter, to outside the body. Urine moves in the ureters by peristalsis, as we mentioned before, to be stored in the urinary bladder. And then, when the urinary bladder is completely filled, it contracts, or the wall of the urinary bladder contracts, and the sphincter muscle at the end relaxes and opens to let the urine to go out to the urethra, then outside the body. So we have here some questions. What happened in each of the following cases? Number one, stop reabsorption process. It means the body will lose much of the water and essential substances or valuable materials, and the individual has to drink 170 liters of water daily to compensate its loss. That's because each 1 minute, 1.2 to 1.3 liters of the blood enters each kidney. So, if the reabsorption process stops, the body has to drink, or the person or the individual has to drink 170 liters of water to compensate its loss. Question number two, one of the two kidneys stop working. What happened? The other kidney can carry out the function of two, but in this case, the healthy kidney will increase in size by time because it carry out the function of the two. Question number three, the two kidneys stop working. You have to know that no one can live without kidneys, as death will happen due to accumulation of urea that causes blood poisoning. So the patient must carry out kidney washing or kidney dialysis. The human body contains 5 to 6 liters of blood. 1.2 to 1.3 liters of blood passes through the kidneys per minute. So every day about 1,600 liters passes through the kidneys every day. And 3 liters of plasma pass through the kidneys to be examined about 560 times per day. It means that high percentage of blood always passes through the kidneys every day. And the daily amount of extracted urine from the kidneys depends on volume of water taken, temperature of the environment, efficiency of the kidney, and the presence of some diseases. Let's talk about the artificial kidney or kidney washing. Kidney failure occurs due to some diseases that make the two kidneys stop working, leading to accumulation of the waste products in the body and may lead to death. So kidney failure is treated by using artificial kidneys or kidney dialysis. The idea or the steps of kidney dialysis or kidney washing. Number one, a tube is inserted into an artery, special junction in the patient's arm, and the blood of the patient is channeled through semi-permeable membrane tube, which is immersed in a bath containing all the normal blood chemicals, except urea and other metabolic wastes. Since the concentration of wastes in the blood is more than the concentration of wastes in the bath, so wastes pass from the blood of the patient to the bath, and then to outside through an opening in the bath. The purified blood is returning back to the body, and the patient receives artificial treatment for several hours 2 or 3 times a week. And the liquid inside the bath must be continuously renewed to avoid the accumulation of waste products and rediffusion to the patient's blood. This is the shape of the kidney dialysis circuit. I hope that you understand what I'm explaining today. Thank you for listening.